In this episode of Growing Your Sense of Self Through Self-Defense, I'm going to talk about the value of hate. Now, in a previous episode, I talked about the value of fear, anger, and sadness. There are evolutionary advantages, benefits, to being able to experience these emotions, revolving around the protection of or the mourning of needs, the desires that we have. And these are deeply rooted. They go back into our mammal roots. Now, those are three of the four primary emotions, happiness being the fourth. And just like primary colors, the three primary colors, the various combinations of those in intensities and amounts can create all other colors. These four emotions in different amounts and intensities can create all other emotions. So hatred is an emotion that comes from the core, the fundamental emotions, largely anger and a lot of fear. So as a byproduct or a wiring from the basic wiring, hatred is core as well to humanity and to mammals beyond that. So it's not something to have a negative connotation on hatred itself. It's just an emotion, like other emotions are. There's a common misperception that love is all good, hate is all bad. And that can be shown to be in error in simple examples. So imagine a pedophile who loves young children, and the younger, the better. And he loves having sex with young children. This is love with a very negative connotation, negative consequences, horrific negative consequences, long term. Now, perhaps the mother of the child has a hatred for the pedophile, may not even know who he is at the time, hates what has been done to their child, and has that hatred motivate them to maybe find out who this person is, to bring him into the justice system, to have some level of justice for her child and protect other children who now this pedophile will not be able to abuse. So you can see in the case where there was love, there was a lot of negative consequences. Where the case where there was hate, there was positive consequences. Positive for society, positive for individuals. Now you might try to avoid that and try to spare the concept of love is all good and hate's all bad by somehow saying, well, that really wasn't love. Well, by what definition is it not love? M. Scott Peck's definition, the one that I like to use, is love is joy in the existence of. Well, a pedophile has joy in the existence of the young kids. He has joy in the existence of abusing them in the way that he abused them sexually. So by that definition, that's love. The dictionary definition is an intense feeling of strong affection. That's what the pedophile has in both these cases. So that's love. You may say it's a bad love, but it's love. Whether you call it bad or good, that's contextual and depends on something more than the emotion itself. The emotion just is. It itself doesn't carry a moral sense to it. It's the context and the actions. So we don't get criminally charged for our feelings. We can have whatever feelings we would like. Where we get in trouble, where we can get criminally charged, is by our actions, our acting out on those emotions. And the emotion can be anything. It doesn't have to be something that we consider or that is mislabeled as a negative one. So happiness. So my team just won the championship, right? I'm in the city of the champion and run out onto the street and join the mob. And in our celebration, we're flipping over cars and starting them on fire and breaking windows. And it's this jovial celebration that's causing a lot of destruction and maybe even hurting people as part of this happiness expression. And for that, we can get in trouble. Being happy itself was not getting in trouble. Acting out on it was getting us in trouble, could get us in trouble. And whether that's a hate or a love or a happiness or a sadness, you can act out on the emotion in ways that hurt others, that break laws. The stronger one's sense of self is, the more comfortable one is with one's emotions, the more accepting of the emotions, not trying to avoid or trying to downplay or negate. It's living fully human, living fully mammal, and embracing what is in us and not labeling it as good or bad, what is wired within us. Where we get in trouble, or where we can get in trouble, with a lower sense of self, and we become a little bit more self-absorbed, we're less able to appreciate the universe of others in which they are the center. And we want to make, when we have these emotions, they're consuming because we're self-absorbed and not other-oriented, less other-oriented. So we can act out in ways that hurt others, that we think are satisfying our emotional outrage or emotional expression for what we consider positive or negative. I can hit that guy who's on the other team when his team beat mine because I'm angry about that. That's not a good acting out. Being angry, okay, I'm angry that we lost because I had a vested sense of community with this team, and that was lost or lessened. So I'm angry about that. Maybe sad about that. People can express it in different ways, but or feel emotion in different ways. But how I act out on that, that determines whether it was right or wrong. Not the emotion. The emotion is what it is. That's what we're wired to experience. Now, emotions can also be misplaced because they depend on perception. I'm driving down the road, maybe going 10 miles an hour faster than the speed limit. Some guy pulls up alongside of me, faster than me, and he sort of almost cuts me off, pulls in front of me, and then slows down. Well, I could be very angry about that. Maybe lean on the horn and start cussing under my breath, and maybe momentarily think maybe I should ram the guy from behind. And in a little bit, I see, oh, there's a cop ahead that seems to have a radar detector, and this guy maybe has a radar detector in his, or has a radar gun. Maybe this guy has a radar detector. He got in front of me, seeing I was going too fast, and slowed me down. So he spared me. So my anger at this person was misplaced because my perception was incomplete, which they always are. So the emotions may be, we'll say, inappropriate, and only in the sense that our perceptions were not correct, were incorrect. The emotion flows from what our perceptions are. And when we are a strong sense of self, our perceptions are more reality-based, less inward-directed, and therefore much more likely to be accurate than a person with a low sense of self. So benefits for having a strong sense of self: embracing the emotions and having comfort in an unlikelihood of acting out on those emotions based in ways that are, in fact, negative. The emotion themselves are not, the acting out can be, whatever the emotion is. Thank you for your time. Till next time, kamsahamnida. Toodles.